Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be replacing the thermostat on our Mitsubishi L200 K74. Now this is a job that I have done recently. When we bought the car it turns out that it actually didn't have a thermostat in it. I don't know if that's a Portuguese thing or I literally have no idea why you wouldn't put one in, but I replaced it and the coolant system was filthy. So it's been about a year since I replaced it, and if you haven't watched our previous video, go and check it out where we did a liquid moly coolant cleaning procedure. So we flushed it through a few times, and since we changed the radiator and flushed it, I thought it would be rude not to put in a new thermostat. So let's go in and have a look at how to do it. So the first thing we're going to do is head underneath the car and we're going to drain out the fluid. Now this part is optional, but I've taken the skid plates off and I've used the provided drain bung, which is right here, that drain plug to empty the water out. Now a lot of people won't bother to do that, and you can just take the pipe off and all the coolant will come out of the thermostat housing down here, but I don't recommend that because it will cover your alternator in coolant, but I've seen a lot of people do that. So if you come over to the passenger side of the car, this is a left-hand drive vehicle, you can see if we zoom in right down here, there is the thermostat housing with that pipe coming onto it. Now that's the bottom hose for the radiator. So we're going to have to start by undoing that Jubilee clip, and then for some reason on my truck we have at the top, there's two bolts for the housing. We've got one at the top which for some reason is a 13 and the one at the bottom is a 12 millimeter. So let's start by undoing that Jubilee clip. Let's take that off. Wiggle that. Hey, there we go. Just push that down below, keep that out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my size 13 mil and just start undoing this. See how tight this is. Not too bad. Okay, so I get that size 12 out and then hopefully this bugger should just pull off. Alright, we haven't had water gushing out, so that's good. Right, got off our housing. Let's have it out. Oh, there she is. Okay, so here's the thermostat. You can see it's been, like I say, about a year since I put this one in, and the cooling system was pretty grim. So you can see look at that. It's not too bad. It's mainly, I believe, just surface. Yeah, look, I can wipe a bit of that off. But still, I think it's worthy of a change as I've got a nice new clean cooling system. So let's get that new one in. So I'm going to put the little valve at the top because you can see the writing actually faces this way, just my little OCD bit there. I'd like that to be facing up. Now that sits in there really nice, and you can see the seal fits nicely in there. Make sure that it's all the way in and not sitting wonky. And now it's time to get that housing back on. You can see here there's a small bit of the wiring that goes through the holes. You have to make sure you get that on. If you get that over the thermostat, you can see like that. Then come back in with your bolt and then start finger tightening that little bugger in there. Now we'll come in at the bottom with our size 12, making sure that the thermostat hasn't moved out of place at all. Right, now I'm just going to give this a nice tighten with confidence. Let's give that a nice tighten as well. Obviously don't go mental. And there we go, that's thermostat back in. And the pipe's pretty easy, especially now I've greased it. Let's just slot that back on all the way and get the Jubilee clip in the right position. Right, make sure that's nice and tight on there, don't want that blowing off. Right then, I'm going to start filling it up, and of course I'm going to check for leaks. Dad's turned up, look at him, here he is, the old sexy man himself. Now if you haven't got one of these, we highly recommend these, don't we? You can find these, I don't know where we got this, oh hello. But you can see it screws on, it doesn't leak, and I can let it all bubble out. Don't have to worry about spilling it anywhere. And look, you can see if you want to stop the flow, you can. Wicked bit of kit, that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start up the car, going to let it run. I'm going to try and take it outside and park it slightly uphill. I'm going to probably put it on a pallet or up the curb or something, just to get obviously this part as high as possible so all the air bubbles come out. I'll let it run up to temperature. Obviously keep an eye on the temperature gauge because the thermostat will be controlling that. And once I've run it for about 15-20 minutes, I'll put the cap on, call it a day. Just obviously keeping an eye on this, making sure it doesn't all disappear, topping it up regularly if I need to. I'll report back in a bit. So as you can see, it's been running nearly 10 minutes now, and we just had a fair few bubbles come up. So we're going to keep it on for another 5-10, and we will then shut it off and put the cap on. So you can see in there, the temperature gauge is dead in the middle, which is perfect, exactly where we want it. So another couple of bubbles there. Just really waiting, because the air bubbles get trapped and they can take quite a while to work their way through the whole system and get up to the top. So like I say, another 5 minutes and there's another one, and we will report back. Okay, so we let the car run for around 20 minutes and let all the bubbles come up. Of course, you saw we put them on the pallets so that we could get all the air bubbles to the front of the radiator. It ran to temperature perfectly, didn't overheat, and of course the thermostat opened. It was sitting bang in the middle, so it was perfect. Then I put the cap on, ran it around the block a couple of times, and it's running sweet as a nut. So of course over the next couple of days I'll just check on that fluid, make sure that it's all good, obviously when the engine's cold, and that should be jobs a good 'un. So I will catch you all in the next video, and thank you very much for watching.
One day I'll change all of my wicked ways, and happiness will start to make sense. Happiness will start to make